Weighted energy potentials in a latent space. Bioelectric probabilities. Weighted energy potentials in a latent space, especially in the context of neural networks and how they process information. Intelligence as patterns in a space of possibilities. Imagine that intelligence doesn't just live in physical bodies or brains, but in the shape or geometry of possibilities, like a map that guides how something might behave. This map isn't made of physical roads or landmarks, but of probabilities and potential outcomes formed by the way energy or information is arranged. The idea of weighted potentials. In machine learning, especially in neural networks, we talk about weights and biases. These are like instructions that guide how the network thinks or makes decisions. When we train a neural network, it learns by adjusting these weights and biases to form a specific pattern or geometry in a space of possibilities, a latent space. A latent space as a playground of possibilities. Think of latent space as a kind of invisible playground where different possibilities are explored. The patterns formed by the weights and biases in this space determine the network's output, like a probability of recognizing an image or predicting the next word in a sentence. Geometry as a guide. The geometry in this latent space isn't just a random mess. It's structured in a way that encodes information about what the network has learned. This structure guides the network's behavior, much like how a set of instructions might guide a robot's actions. Connecting to Levin's idea. Now let's link this to Michael Levin's ideas. Just as the geometry of weights and biases in a neural network encodes how it thinks, Levin suggests that natural processes might have their own kinds of weighted potentials, patterns of energy or bioelectric activity that encode how they behave or decide. These patterns don't need to be part of a conscious being. They exist everywhere, in cells, ecosystems, or even in physical systems we don't usually consider intelligent. Patterns as intelligent behavior. The idea here is that intelligence can be seen as these patterns of weighted potentials that shape how something behaves in a complex system. These patterns, much like those in a neural network, guide behavior in a way that seems purposeful, even if there's no conscious thought behind it. Probabilistic outputs in nature. Just as a neural network produces probabilistic outputs like recognizing a cat in a photo, natural systems also have probabilistic outcomes based on their internal electromagnetic signaling patterns. These outcomes could be seen as a form of decision-making or intelligent behavior, even if it's all happening at a level we don't usually consider alive. Bringing it all together. In simpler terms, Levin suggests that intelligence might exist not just in brains, but in the very structure of possibilities that guide how things organize and behave within their environment. This structure encodes potential outcomes like the geometry in a neural network's latent space. It guides behavior based on charge potentials that give rise to patterns in ways that can look intelligent, even if no conscious mind is involved. So, intelligence might be more about how energy and information are arranged, how they form patterns in a space of possibilities, than about having a brain or a physical body. This shifts our understanding of intelligence from something tied to living beings to something that can exist wherever there are structured, purposeful patterns guiding behavior. This in itself solves an age-old question of life. The primacy of energy. In the grand scheme of life, it is energy that drives and sustains matter, not the other way around. This fundamental truth overturns the age-old debate of what came first, the chicken or the egg, by highlighting that in the context of life and the body, energy precedes and governs matter. Energy moves matter. Energy is the force that moves and organizes matter, creating the intricate patterns and structures we observe in the natural world. Without the energy for life, matter would not exist. It is the dynamic, entropic exchange and flow of energy that gives rise to the complex interactions and processes that define living organisms through patterns of energy. The confinement of living fields. Our bodies are more than just assemblies of elements. They are confined within living fields of energy capable of pattern adaptation for preference in a given environment. These bioelectrical networks are the true essence of life, orchestrating the myriad functions that sustain us. The energy fields within and around us are the vital force that animates our physical forms, giving rise to the entropic anomaly we call life. Energy preceded matter. When we consider the origins of life, it becomes clear that energy existed before matter. The will for life, which we can refer to as love, the intrinsic drive towards organization and complexity, is embedded within the energy that constructs our worldly perspective. This energy, imbued with life, shaped and continues to shape the material world. The will for life is an inherent property of the energy that permeates the universe. Love moves matter as easily as magnetism. You adjust a thermostat temperature to comfort loved ones. Love is a force in nature. This non-mechanical entropic force seeks to organize, create, and sustain love and life. This fundamental drive underlies the existence of all living things, from the simplest single-celled organisms to the most complex multicellular beings, or even the rings around Saturn in the heavens above.